Professor Jeffrey Sachs drops by to discuss what happens when democracy gets globalized. Check it out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. Jeffrey D. Sachs, a university professor, director of the Center for Sustainable Development at Columbia University, has produced some just absolutely extraordinary work over the years. The Age of Sustainable Development back in 2015, Building a New American Economy in 2017, A New Foreign Policy Beyond American Exceptionalism. He has a new book out. His website, by the way, Jeff Sachs, SACHS.org. You can tweet him at Jeff D. Sachs. He has a new book out. It's called Ages of Globalization, and it's fascinating, thought-provoking, in-depth analysis of kind of the history of globalization going back 70-some-odd thousand years ago. Professor Sachs, welcome back to the program. It's been a while. Thank you for writing this new book and for joining us.
Tom, I hope you're well. How are you doing?
I am. Yes, knock wood. So, you go through the 7 ages of globalization, the Paleolithic, the Neolithic, the Equestrian, the Classical Age, the Ocean Age, the Industrial Age, and now the Digital Age. Give us a snapshot of what you're talking about here. Explain what you mean by this.
The idea is to try to understand how humanity has related with each other, especially through trade and migration, long-distance spread of ideas throughout human history. When I was first studying economics many decades ago, I thought, my God, we are opening a new period called globalization. It took me quite a while to understand that while there are unique aspects of our globalization compared to the past, we've been at this global affair for quite a long time. And to understand the dynamics of global change, I came to understand over the course of my career and policy work that you really did need to understand the interactions of geography, the climate, the physical resources, the location of economies, how those interacted with the institutions of government, politics, and so forth, with fundamentally the changes of our know-how, our technologies, perhaps the most fundamental driver of change of them all. And in this overview of human globalization, of long-distance interactions, I emphasize this 3-way understanding, taking physical nature, technological change, and ideas, culture, politics as 3 sides that are constantly interacting. I believe it helps us to understand what's happening right now, which is mass disruption to our lives, our understanding, our nature of global interaction. So that's the purpose of the book.
So what does this mean for us today? I mean, well, I'll just leave that question right there.
Yeah, what I think is stunning and upsetting and unnerving is that we are absolutely entering a new phase of globalization. Many days in the COVID pandemic, we hear, is globalization over? Are we reverting to national or local economies? The answer is certainly not, especially in an age driven by digital technologies, which are instantaneously bringing knowledge and all aspects of our economic life within global reach. So we're not reverting to any kind of local economics. We're more interconnected than ever. And that's a basic truth. But what's also happening is that we are experiencing a deep disruption to how our economies work. COVID is obvious. It couldn't be more dramatic, of course. But what it has done is to dramatically accelerate the digitalization of every aspect of our economic life. Most of us are working from home. Payments, commerce, governance is all now online. not all of it, of course, but a remarkable amount. Within a few weeks, hundreds of millions of kids went to school online, completely unexpectedly. But while with lots of difficulties, more seamlessly than one could have imagined over the course of just a few weeks. At the same time, global politics is changing absolutely rapidly. Again, in this case, accelerated both by the pandemic and by Trump, who is the most incoherent and narrow-minded president we've ever had. He's actually accelerating what was already underway, which is the end of the American-led global era to now a truly multipolar global era where China, East Asia more generally, India, Africa, Europe are each more independently acting and interacting regions. So I think we're entering a new kind of geopolitics. The U.S. has basically abandoned leadership under the weird and unhelpful banner of America First, which is getting us deeper and deeper into trouble on many fronts. But even beside that point, we are now in a different kind of global politics, and
right.
Much of the day-to-day conflict that we're seeing with China, or the rhetorical skirmishing with China, is really a reflection of this global change. The third aspect of our global reality, of course, is nature itself. COVID-19 is only the most recent of a wave of emerging new diseases that reflect in a fundamental way how humanity is impinging on nature and thereby triggering new so-called zoonotic events where pathogens, viruses, bacteria, and so forth spread from animal populations to human populations. In this case, from bats to humans, probably somewhere in southwest China originally. But this is just one of a series of such pandemics, SARS and Ebola and Middle East respiratory syndrome being three other recent zoonotic emergent diseases. And sad to say, there will be more to come. But that's part of an even larger environmental story, of course, Tom. As you know, climate change, mass pollution, destruction of the biosphere. In short, we are in a new global era, which will change fundamentally how we live, how we interact, and what we have to do to stay safe.
It's remarkable. We have just a little less than a minute left, and you've raised so many large issues here. The digital revolution. I'm wondering your let me just pick that. I'm wondering your thoughts on the emergence of digital oligarchs. Essentially, Zuckerberg and Facebook have now said that science about climate change is going to be treated like opinion on Facebook. So the climate change deniers can do whatever they want. Are we? Is this new digital age going to be one that's controlled by an oligarchy, essentially?
We are in the robber baron era of the new digital economy, where Bezos and Zuckerberg and a few others think they call the shots, and for the short term they do. I don't think this will last long. It is phenomenal that in a short period of time, Bezos gained $50 billion in the few weeks of this pandemic. It's not going to last. We're going to be taxing them, we're going to be regulating them, and we're going to be regarding these technologies as a common ownership of humanity, not the ownership of a few people.